The following podcast is taken from a live broadcast on Inspire FM.
Good morning and Assalamu alaikum. You are tuned into Inspire FM 105.1 FM. It's Friday, 11th of August, and the time has well gone very past 10 o'clock. Welcome to Mother's Planet, a show where there is always something to talk about in a productive and beneficial way. I'm your host, Neelum, and joining me in the studio this morning is my guest, Kamillah. I will get her to formally introduce herself to the listeners, but first I wanted to start with how are you this morning? So you are on mic number, what's that, 2, 5, 4, 1, 2, 3. I should be able to count in order. I think you're mic number 3. I think you are mic number 3. Let's 4. You're mic number 4. Okay, thank you. Assalamu alaikum. I've got there this morning. How are you?
Wa alaikum salam. Can you hear me nice and clear?
I can hear you, yes.
Yeah, I'm fine, alhamdulillah. Just recovering from a bit of flu, but apart from that, I'm fine, alhamdulillah.
Bless you, alhamdulillah. You know what? It's been that horrible season this time round. We've had, I think, everything that you can think of. Only a few days ago, I had the heating on in my house, and today I've got the fans on and all the windows open. So we are being blessed with some very interesting weather. So listeners, this week has been quite a strange one, as I was mentioning, with the weather being constantly changing. But I'm not going to complain because we have missed the sun. So, I'm enjoying the sun. I'm enjoying the heat as well because when you have children, the washing just piles up. So I like to air dry all my washing, and so I'm getting the washing out on the washing line, which is nice to see. But the only thing that's really bugging me about the heat is the pesky flies. I can't believe how many there are. Now, I'm not sure, because of the strange weather that we've had, the flies have all been hidden away. So in this heat, they're just all coming out of everywhere and every little corner. But it's really frustrating when you're in the kitchen and you're trying to cook and you've got meat out on display and you've got all sorts of food out on display and the flies are just hovering around. So yeah, I've not had fun in my kitchen, and I'm hoping that I'm not on my own here. Kamillah, do you share the same frustration?
Yeah, the flies and the insects, they're coming out in droves.
Yes. And they are frustrating, aren't they? Absolutely frustrating. I find it very hard to be able to cook freely in my kitchen. And the thing is, you have to have the windows opened. So, it's hard to close the windows and then cook. And especially with my cooking, because it's, traditional Pakistani cooking. So I have to have the windows open. Otherwise, my house will linger with this curry smell. So yes, it's I'm glad to hear that you agree with me that there is an influx of flies around at the moment. So Kamillah, what would you say? Are you a sunshine lady, or do you prefer the colder days?
I like a bit of both, actually. So I kind of like it when it's in the middle. I've lived in countries where the heat's been like 45 degrees, but then you have air conditioning, don't you? So it makes a difference. So yeah, enjoying the warm days, but I think it's that mum thing, isn't it, that you can put the washing out when it's warm.
Yes, absolutely.
Enjoying it.
And be productive, absolutely, yeah. So I also like to throw in some talk about my garden. Now, I'm conscious because this morning we did start the show a little bit late this morning because I have the children at home, and, it's one of those things where you think, oh, yeah, I've got plenty of time, and then you look up and you think, I've got no time whatsoever. So, alhamdulillah, the roads were clear. I was able to race through the traffic, so apologies for starting late this morning. But I do like to throw in some talk about my garden, and I'm sure Kamillah's a bit aware of what happened this week with my gardening, so I must share it with you listeners. So I decided to mow the lawn in my garden, but the kids being at home, I thought let's get them all involved. So the younger ones were picking the litter and just picking up weed around the garden, and I gave my elder son the responsibility of having little clippers and just clipping the edge of the grass. And I'm happily mowing the lawn, and then I just hear a loud bang. And so while he was clipping the edge of the grass, he decided to clip the cable wire of my lawnmower. So alhamdulillah, there was no accidents, but I did give him a good telling off, and I think 10 houses down must have heard the telling off. But I was very cross about him not exercising any safety while he was doing this. But yeah, kids are kids. He blames me because I was moving with the lawnmower, so I'm not quite sure what he thinks people do with the lawnmower. So yeah, that was my crazy moment of the week. Do you like gardening, Kamillah?
No.
Oh, I must say it's not something that I liked, but I've grown to like now, just because I think it's my time when I go out in the garden, and I have to say my eldest daughter's much better at nurturing the plants than I am. She'll save all the coffee granules and use that as the food for the plants. She'll, if we've got eggshells floating around, she'll get that. I'm not that savvy with all the stuff that's being wasted in the house, but I do like going out and planting flowers and just checking how they're doing.
My mum had a beautiful garden when we were growing up. Everyone on the road used to talk about it, but unfortunately I didn't get the green fingers.
It's just one of those things, but mashallah, you're talented in other areas of your life. So yes, we are. So listeners, we are live on air, reaching out to all our listeners in Luton and surrounding areas. You can reach us through the Inspire airwaves at Inspire FM 105.1 FM. You can also connect through TuneIn via the Inspire FM webpage, and you can have us being heard on the Inspire FM app, which can be downloaded on your smartphones. So there's actually no excuse to miss the show today. We are also live on Facebook page, where you must like the show, and also you can leave any comments or ask any questions around today's topics. I always welcome listeners to join in the discussion and share their thoughts on today's topic via the studio WhatsApp number on 0777 9481 822. Now, in today's show, my guest and I will be talking about self-care and about a very special event that's being held in early part of September, which has been organised for women in the community. And there is also a chance to win a free ticket for the event. So do listen out for the question, which we will ask at some point. So keep your ears peeled and listen out for this question. And it will be related to what we are discussing this morning. But before we begin, Kamillah, can I just get you to please introduce yourself to the listeners?
Yeah, so good morning, everyone. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. My name is Kamillah Lacey. I am the founder and one of the directors of the Trauma Healing Collective, which is an organisation which primarily works with Muslim women and women of colour who may have experienced any kinds of abuse, domestic violence, trauma, mental health, offering services to them that are appropriate and, fit in with their cultural, spiritual and religious needs.
Wow, mashallah, there you go. And so, Kamillah, how long have you been doing this now?
So the work itself, I've been doing it for many, many years, probably about 25, 30 years. Wow. I've been working within different communities. But the Trauma Healing Collective, this is the third year of this actual organisation, yeah. Okay.
So the Trauma Healing Collective, it's also known as, how do we abbreviate it?
Usually we just abbreviate it as TTHC, yeah.
Okay, so it's TTHC, the Trauma Healing Collective, yeah. Right, okay. So, talk me through a little bit about why you felt the need to set something up like this.
So, as I said, I've always worked within the communities. Mm-hmm. We've had girls groups, different activities for mums, etc. And one of the things that kept coming up was how women coped with adverse experiences that were going on in their home, or how young people coped with seeing adverse experiences that were going on within their home. Mm-hmm. So some children may have experienced physical, emotional, sexual abuse. Some may have been seeing their parents being, their mum being violently abused. There may have been drug abuse in the house, mental health, incarceration, etc. And all of this played a big impact. And what I found was that although we could maybe help them and steer them with some of that, the main thing that they had left was the trauma that they carried from those events. And we weren't really addressing that. We weren't really looking at what the needs were or helping them to understand what it was that was going on for them. And so decided that we would set up an organisation that could meet those needs.
And so I guess the purpose and the goal for TTHC is to help women deal with things like trauma and healing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
anxiety, trauma, mental health, and to equip them with the tools and the skills to be able to start and continue a healing journey.
And I guess in the process of healing, this, the topic of discussion today is around self-care. So I guess it involves self-care when it comes to healing and perhaps a little bit of trauma. Would you agree that you need to have self-care to try and accept and move on from trauma and healing?
Oh, definitely. The healing is something that you take responsibility for. The healing is something that you install in your daily life, and part of that would have to be caring about yourself and having that self-care, because when a person is dysregulated and when a person is in the throes of a traumatic experience, it's very difficult for them to care for themselves. So definitely self-care would play a big part in the healing journey.
And what is self-care?
Well, I like to say that self-care really is the little things that we do to look after our own mental, emotional, spiritual and physical health. And the important thing with self-care is it's not what it looks like, but it's what it does for that individual, and how it makes them feel, because everyone's different, so different things are going to work for different people. So when it comes to self-care, really, it's not one thing, it's your thing. It's your individual thing that works for you.
So everyone has a different way of, I guess, practicing self-care. It's not something that suits everyone. You'll have different techniques for different people.
Yeah, and one of the things that I encourage the ladies to do is to make like their own little self-care box. Okay. So like how you'd have, if you cut your hand, you'd have a first aid box, wouldn't you, in the house with plasters and scissors and antiseptic, etc. So I encourage them to make their own little box and to put inside the box things that help them when they're feeling dysregulated. So it could be, let's say, a stress ball. It could be their favourite oil that they burn in a burner. It could be that they like to crochet, gardening, like you said, and in the box they'd have a picture of gardening, or they may want to do slight exercise, so you'd put a picture of, maybe a treadmill in there. Recipe cards. Some people may want to go in the kitchen and bake. It helps them to feel better. So they've got their box, and what will happen is, over time, I tell them to, experiment with what makes them feel good, what works for them, and you'll see that over a period of time. And then on the back of those cards or whatever, it could be that, okay, today I'm feeling really lethargic. I feel like I want to stay in bed all day. So you do something physical that would uplift you. So it may be on the back of the treadmill, it will say, do 15 minutes exercise. So I encourage everyone to try and make their own little...
I like that idea.
Box,
I think that's really good, because sometimes when you're in a situation where you get flustered and you don't know how to cope with it, you don't think, these are the things I enjoy. But if you've got a box or something there just to sort of trigger some thoughts of, why don't you go and do this, like a suggestive box.
Yeah, prompts you.
Yeah, it prompts you. I do like that idea. Now, listeners, if you have just tuned in, where have you been? I have the lovely Kamillah with me this morning, and we are talking about self-care, but also about a lovely evening that has been organised for women in the community. We are also, Kamillah has very kindly offered to give a free ticket to a lucky winner on a question that I am going to unveil this morning. Around today's topic. So Kamillah has come from the Trauma Healing Collective, which is also known as TTHC, and we have been talking about self-care. So if you have any questions around self-care, please do message into the studio number on 07779 481822. I should know that number, but I still keep checking my reference point just to make sure, because there's a lot of sevens in there, but it's there. 07779 481 822. Now, the question that we have organised for the listeners this morning is, what does TTHC stand for? So what does TTHC stand for? Please message in your answers to the studio number 07779 481 822 and send your answer through along with your full name. So a lucky winner will be selected at random and contacted, so do send those messages in. So we talked about how people can prompt themselves when it comes to self-care and understanding self-care. Why do you think self-care, or, explain to me why self-care is important? Because often as mums, we don't really prioritise ourselves, and, why is it important for us to do this?
Well, it will, like I said earlier, it will look like different things for each and every person. So it's their own personal journey, okay? But what self-care does is it looks after our mental, emotional, spiritual and physical well-being and health, yeah? And it can also improve your mood. It can help to reduce anxiety. And it's also the key to having good relationship, first and foremost with yourself, but also with others. So it is something that is very important, because when you don't have that care, when you don't have that regard for yourself, especially women that have been through a lot of, different experiences, they can self-blame, they can self-hate, they can feel so low about themselves. So it's really, really important for them to understand that it's a key to having that love and that good relationship with themselves first and foremost, and then with others.
Well, I guess, yes, and that you don't realise when you are in that negative mode how much it has an impact on people around you. So I guess it's very important. But I guess as busy mums and as busy people, it's really hard to allocate that time, and it's really hard to push yourself. I've spoken to so many women that always say, I know I need to just sit down and give myself a head massage, or just read a book that I like, and I need to take time out from the digital world or the kids world or the cooking world. How do you encourage this balance, of trying to get their self-care prioritised over their daily lives?
I think it's really important for them to make a routine, even if it's only 20 minutes a day, okay? But that time is specifically for them, to do something that just makes them feel good, something that calms them, and to stick to that routine no matter how their day has been, yeah? So, for instance, it might be that they decide that they want to just put some
eye mask.
Like a mask on, and just lie there, burn some oil for 20 minutes, shut the door, not listen to anyone, not hear anybody, It might be that. It might be that they feel, okay, I'm going to just go into the garden and do a bit of weeding, or I might go for a walk around the block. So whatever makes them feel good about themselves, but to try and make sure they stick to that routine, even if they get up that morning they're feeling really awful and it's not the best of days, because you'll find that once you start implementing that routine, it will become normal practice for you, and then you will build up. So I think that's really, really important, that no matter how you're feeling, to try and implement that routine. So even for myself, because although I work in this field, I also need my own self-care. So I do Pilates. Me and my daughter, we do it with a lady. And when I first started going, I was like, I don't stick at anything to do with exercise. I'm really bad. But I found this to be such a lovely space, such a safe space. And being able to, move on and, do things in a way that made me feel good about myself. And, so we go twice a week. And it's something that no matter what happens, unless it's really an emergency, I stick to it and I go. Sure. And that's a routine. So that's my self-care. So if you stick to that routine, you'll find that after a while it will become second nature for you to just continue and do that. Yeah.
And I guess in the case of yourself, once you didn't want to do it, and then you tried it, you did it, and it's the feelings and the positive feeling that
Definitely.
you had after it. And I guess when we remind ourselves that, you know, we felt good doing this, or it was quite nice. I know initially it might be quite difficult, but it's that reminder to ourselves that actually I felt quite good doing this, and so keep doing it, because I'm guilty of this. I think after I had my youngest child, I just couldn't bring myself to just do any form of exercise, and I know I needed it, and I knew how unfit I was, but I just thought, I don't have the time. I've got children, I've got to prioritize them. And it just suddenly hit me when I recently became quite anemic, and I just thought, gosh, I'm going to just deteriorate if I don't do anything about myself here. So, you know, I dug my heels in, and as you said, I had some really down days where I just got up and I thought, right, today I'm going to give myself a day off. I'm not going to do anything. But once I got up and I actually went and did, you know, I started skipping. So I love skipping. And anyone I speak to now, I'm like, if you want to do something, just go and skip. Honestly, it's so good. And I haven't quite got to like how Rocky does it. I'm hoping that I will try and get to that standard, but I'm getting there. So I do enjoy it. And it's something that I push myself regardless of how I'm feeling every single day. And I do it. And the nice thing is, my younger children have started to do it, and I can see that they're really interested in doing it as well. So, right, listeners, we are now actually coming to a short commercial break. The question that I asked this morning about for the free ticket is, what does TTHC stand for? Please do send in your text messages or WhatsApp messages through to the studio number 07779 481822 along with your name and answer, and a winner will be selected at random. But for now, go enjoy a short commercial break. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, this is Atif Nawaz. Listen to Inspire FM shows in your time by heading over to inspirefm.org or listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Good morning and Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Mother's Planet. I'm your host Neelum. It's Friday 11th of August and the time has just gone 10:30. This morning my guest Kamillah and I have been talking about the importance of self-care and how us busy women can actually implement this in our lives. Now, Kamillah has shared that she's started Pilates with her daughter, and she's making sure she's doing this as her regular routine. And I've shared my skipping and how I make sure, regardless of how I'm feeling, I'm doing this. So Kamillah, we've talked a lot about self-care and the importance around it, and why one should have this in their life and make this a regular practice. We have a lovely evening that's been organised by the Trauma Healing Collective. So can you tell me a bit about this evening? So it's called the Elegance of Evening. So
Evening of Elegance.
Sorry, Elegance of Evening. I made no sense there. Evening of Elegance. So tell me a bit actually where the name came from. How did you think about Evening of Elegance?
So actually last year a couple of our volunteers, they were the ones that came up with the idea about us doing an event that was just for women, a chance for women to really dress up, a chance for them to, for us to raise awareness about what the collective does, also to hear firsthand, you know, some stories, some testimonies, and to attempt to fundraise for the organisation. So that was the idea behind it, and alhamdulillah, they worked tirelessly, really well, to put it all together. You know, we got the ideas. Right, let's put the ticket sales up. Let's have these activities. Let's give a little gift. What can we do? So it was the first one, and we did it, and alhamdulillah, it went very, very well. I think there was about 160 women.
Wow.
At Crescent Hall, who really did us justice. You know, beautiful decor, everything. They really made it special for us. And then we decided, okay, at the end of the evening, why not make it something annual and look at, how that went and what we can do.
Improve.
Yes. Definitely. Because that's always good. It's always good to step back and have a look and is there anything we would change? Did this all go well? Etc.
So, Masha, this will be the second event then that's running?
Yeah, so this year will be the second one because, as I said, we did it last year. We didn't really know how it would go, but we felt that it went really well. The feedback was very, very positive. A lot of women said that they really wasn't aware. And I think to some degree we do bury our head in the sands, don't we, about what's really going on, even if it's within our own homes. And I think although it was very, very heavy, maybe for some people to hear, it also really raised awareness for people to realise the reality of what some people actually go through, what their daily life is like when you live in an abusive household.
Absolutely. And that, as you say, it's just making people aware. Yeah. Because, and also, sometimes people suffer in silence and they don't know that they are in that relationship or in that environment where they are being abused. Definitely. Or where they are being not loved or nurtured as they should be, but they think it's a norm. And so they don't address it until it's actually made aware to them. So I think it's really important. So I guess, is that the idea around why you felt, talk to me a bit about, you've touched on it a little bit about why you felt that this was a need for women to dress up, but what was the idea around having this evening? So
the main idea was that to, one, raise awareness about the collective, two, to give women a chance to come out in a nice halal environment, just get together, just, dress up, and just really, really meet others. But it was also to raise awareness and to do some fundraising. Yes. Obviously, when we did it last year, because we've had a few inquiries, well, your ticket prices are a bit more this year, but that's because things do go up. The venue, their prices go up, things go up for us, and when we sell a ticket, we're not getting that profit from that ticket, right? We have to pay out from that, so the profit margin is minimal. So hence why, with everything going up, we've had to put the prices up, but we still think, for what you're getting for the night, it's great value for money. And if you have a table of 10, it's a bit cheaper because you can book that as a group together, and it works out a little bit cheaper for you. And also the platform that we used this year as well, we've incurred the costs because last year people were having to pay on top of their tickets, and we didn't want that to happen this year. So we kind of incurred the cost. So when you see that price, there's a lot that's in that price. It's not that we're charging this and you're getting nothing in return for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, I've read the notes of what's actually included in the event, and it's amazing. Can I just read some of them out? Is that okay?
We'll talk about them.
So in that price you've got and I like the fact that you put dress code elegant, because some people don't make the effort, but knowing that this is a specific dress code, it really, as if I was to read that, I would say right straight away, I need to make sure I glam up a bit. So it's quite nice. So you've got a 3-course meal, you've got a best dressed award as well, which is nice. You've got a speech, which we are going to talk about shortly, live poetry, and lots of stalls, and an auction. So there's a lot going on there, and I think it's actually good value for money. So the 3-course meal, everyone loves food. So, and if you're going to have a meal cooked for you ladies and put out to you, and you're going to be socialising with like-minded women, it's, a win-win really. So, yes, the Best Dressed Award. Talk to me about this.
Okay, so that was something that the young ladies came up with last year. What can we do to encourage everyone to dress up and whatever? Because one of the things that we do is that you do have some sisters coming and women that are, have been vulnerable. They haven't had a chance to do that. So this is just their night as well, that they can, put on something really nice, shine, and just forget about all of it for a little while. So the idea was, okay, let's do a prize for like the best outfit, the best dressed.
Yeah.
And so we did that last year, and this year we've decided that we're going to give a prize for the first and second.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so
yes.
It's a chance to get everyone to think, and it doesn't mean that you have to go and spend loads and loads of money on new clothes, because sometimes you've got something tucked away in the wardrobe that you haven't worn for ages, but you think, wow, actually, I could get glammed up and wear that.
Yeah.
Something you may have bought for a wedding or for Eid or something, and you've not used it for a long while. So that's the aim of it. Just really, really for you to come out and have a really nice time. Yeah. And just take that chance to let your hair down, just dress up, just feel relaxed.
And this is something that I've got some friends and family in France, and the situation for Muslim women in France, even wearing their hijabs in public places, going to work, going to school, it's very difficult. And so something when they heard about this event, they're like, can we somehow come from France all the way here, because it's impossible. So I mean, we are really lucky, because I don't have to go as far as France. My family live in London, and my sister says that there's very limited events happening where it's specifically just ladies only, and especially for ladies that wear hijabs, and I want that time where they can just be with other women and not think about covering up head to toe, and actually letting themselves relax and enjoying an evening. So we are really lucky to have something like this organised in Luton, and I think it's an opportunity not to be missed, really, because things like this don't happen. And so I'm encouraging listeners out there to really come and get involved. And the idea of glamming up and having an award, it could be something that somebody, as you said, had in the wardrobe, but it's how well you carry it off, and how well you dress it up, because you'd be amazed if you had something and then you just wore a different shawl with it, or added some bangles to it, and glam it up a bit, and how it looks. So I think it's not a pressure to go out there and have everything blingy, but it's just the elegance of it, how well you carry it off. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see, and it'd be really nice to see actually how women take that stance actually of elegance. I mean,
last year that you could see that so many, they really made the effort. It was just so lovely to see. It was really like an honour to host the event and to be amongst the women. It was really, really lovely. Yeah.
So I guess from your side, it's quite. This part is probably the difficult part, where you are trying to get this out there to the community, collecting everything, organising everything. But on the night, how do you feel on the night when you see it all?
Yeah, it's I think last year there was love, there was laughter, there was tears, there was just so much. But all in all, it was really a night of sisterhood, and we were really, I think all of us, so overwhelmed with how it went, being the first of its kind that we had done. We all went away feeling, wow, we've done this justice, and the women have done us justice as well. So definitely, it was really nice. And I think as I was saying to you, we thought about last year's and this year's, and we've added a few things. So we'll be having a quiz as well, so that will be at the beginning, that'll lighten the mood a bit. We'll be having a quiz as well, so the table that wins the quiz, they'll get a small prize as well. So we've got a few things going on definitely throughout the night.
I mean, I was just going to ask if you could just talk me through some of the events. I know some, I don't know if you want to keep some as a surprise, or if you want to share everything, but talk me through some of the things. So
the event starts at 7, but doors will open at 6:15.
Okay.
And at that time, ladies will be able to browse, buy from the stalls. We've got some fantastic women who've got their own small businesses that will be there on the night. A couple of them that are really good supporters of the organisation and help us quite a lot throughout the year. So they'll have that time, and then 7 o'clock we'll start the programme, where we'll have an introduction, a bit about obviously the collective. We'll have some poetry that's been read, a couple of testimonials from people who have used the services, etc. And then we'll have the quiz. Then we'll break for Maghrib and to eat. And then after that, we'll come back and we'll have another poem, another testimonial, and then we'll have our keynote speaker who will speak. And then once her speech is finished, again, we'll have another poem, another testimonial. There's also time again to go on the stalls, and then we'll do the auction.
So the poetry, are these done by women that are clients with the Trauma Healing Collective?
This year, last year it was different poems that were read by, we had a lady who had been through quite horrific abuse, and her son, as a result, was hurt by the stepfather. So she read a poem that he had written about how he felt. We had one of our young girls who used to attend a Precious Pearls Club. She read a poem that she had written. So there was a few like that. This year we've got a young lady who's Luton based that will be reading poetry from a book that she's written.
Okay.
So she'll be coming along to do that for us, and I've known her from she was quite young, actually, probably about 15, 16.
Wow.
So she'll be coming on board to do that.
Oh, nice. So ladies, as well as bringing your press-on powder and lipstick in your little bags, you need to also remember to bring some tissue, because it sounds like there will be some tears as well. So do bring some tissue along as well. And that's so nice for you to see, especially having someone that you've known for so long and known since a child, to now stand up in your event and read a poem like this. It must be very nice. So we have I think did you want to share something with me? Okay. So the keynote speech.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just got the wrong mic on there. Here we go. Okay, so if you can just tell us a bit about that, please.
Okay, so the keynote speech will be a survivor of Grenfell Tower. Okay, will be a survivor of Grenfell Tower, and she will be coming along, and she will be talking about her experiences. So she won't be talking about her experience in depth, obviously, of what went on, with the fire, because that again could be re-traumatizing, but she will be talking about what she experienced that night and the impact that it had on her and her family. And obviously some of her family survived and some didn't. And she'll be talking about the work that she now does as a person who experienced that. And I think that was such a great achievement for us that she said she'd come along and do that for us, because I don't think anybody was not touched by Grenfell. I think everybody was touched by it. I think everybody, was, I don't think it's something we'll ever forget.
No.
And so, I think to hear from somebody who was there and who's now doing a lot of work around that for the community, and also highlighting, what went on, alhamdulillah, I think it will be really, really important for people to hear and, take from her.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's one of those things that, we've seen what we've seen on the media, and that's it really. So you've seen that, you've heard random people come on the TV and speak a little bit about it, but to actually have someone physically there in front of you to have gone through it in that way and speak about it, I guess, again, it's going to be an emotional moment. So ladies, have your tissues ready, because it's just, and I think you must feel very privileged to have her come and share an experience like this, because I know it's been a few years now.
Yeah, about 6 years.
And, it still feels like yesterday.
Yeah.
And, for some people to even talk about it, it's trauma. It's very difficult to be able to do. So, credit to this young lady that is coming and that is going to speak and share her experiences around it all. I think that's fantastic to do. Now, I just want to apologise to listeners, because I think we might have had some technical issues over the break. I'm not quite sure if the stream was still going on, so do apologise for any technical issues that may have happened during the break. Now, listeners, I'm still waiting for my guests, listeners, to text in for this free ticket that Kamillah has so very kindly offered to give for this Evening of Elegance. The question is, what does TTHC stand for? So if anyone knows what TTHC stands for, if you have been listening to the show and listening well, you should know the answer. Please do message it in to the studio on 07779 481 822. As I said, I should know that number, but it's something that I'm still working on. Okay, so please do. You can WhatsApp or send a text message, and all you have to do is give the answer along with your full name, and a random winner will be selected and contacted by the end of today to let them know if they have won. So please do message in, get those messages coming through, listeners. Now, you've talked about the poetry. We've talked about the keynote speech. You said there's going to be an auction. Yeah,
there is. Just a little bit more on the keynote speech. I just wanted to say as well, like you mentioned about trauma, that the other thing as well, it's really important for people to understand that different things can cause trauma, because I think we always associate trauma with violence or abuse. We don't realise that, things like war, hurricanes, all these kind of things can cause trauma. So it's also it's great to have her come, because she can also talk about it from another perspective.
That's right, yes.
Which is really important for people to know, because sometimes we don't think of the aftermath for people who have been in these situations.
And, it's a loss at the end of the day. It's, and so there's people grieving out there that have lost somebody in some way or another. So even, if it's not the Grenfell Tower, if it's not... it's loss that
yes, definitely.
People will resonate with, and her speaking about this loss and her grievance through it, how she's dealt with this, people will understand and be able to connect on that level and understand that, oh wow, I've never thought of it like this. So it'd be nice to hear a different perspective of it, and everyone deals with grievance in a very different way. Some people can get over it, some people take time, so it's nice to see that aspect of it. Yes, and I think that's important there, Kamillah. Thank you for mentioning that about trauma not being associated to specific things, because people think, oh no, it's just something that's with those two things that you mentioned. So we've talked about the poetry and the speech. The auction. So what will be auctioned?
Okay, so we've got a few gifts that have been donated. Okay, so we'll give you an insight to some, and then some we'll keep secret. So we've got a Radley bag that's been donated. We have an organisation called Sweet Healing by a sister called Isa, and she sells like authentic Yemen Sidr honey, rose taif honey. So she's given us a really nice bundle of honeys and an immune booster. We've also got a local young lady who does calligraphy, so she's given us a set of prints that she has given us for us to auction. One of our sponsors, as I said, that helps us quite a lot, that runs her own business of natural products, she's given us a set of 3 different serums for us to auction, and a few more other things that everyone will see on the night.
But that's amazing, mashallah, ladies. That's amazing. You've especially the Sidra honey, because that's very difficult to get hold of as well.
Very expensive.
And I was just going to say it's very expensive. So whoever gets their hands on that will be very lucky, inshallah. So yes, ladies, I don't know how good your haggling skills are and bidding skills are, but there we go, another lineup there for you for the event. So that sounds great. So I guess what people want to really know now is how they can get their hands on a ticket. Other than expecting those listeners to text in for a free ticket, how can people purchase a ticket, and is there a deadline?
So they can go to www.eventcreate.com. I will give you the link that you can post it. And also if they go onto Instagram, onto our social media page, they can also find the link there, where they're able to...
And that would be at the Trauma...
At Trauma Healing Collective, on Instagram. Ticket sales will stop at 6 p.m. on the 3rd of September, because we are giving every guest a gift bag. So that gives us, we'll know how many gift bags we have to arrange, also for the catering, etc. So that's like 5 days before the event. And I know everybody likes to leave things to the last minute, because that's how it was last year. Even on the day, people were asking for tickets, but obviously we couldn't do it on the day because we had to give catering numbers. So the 3rd of September, 6 p.m, ticket sales will stop. And as I said, we will give you the link that they can press on.
Yeah.
They can purchase, and also if they go to our Instagram page at Trauma Healing Collective, they can also click on the link and purchase tickets that way. Mm-hmm. If you purchase for a group of 10, so maybe if you've got family members and that want to come, it works out a little bit cheaper.
Yes, that's a good idea there. So listeners, if you haven't heard the question that I asked this morning was, what does TTHC stand for? If you know the answer, text it in on 07779 481 822 with your name and the answer, and a winner will be selected at random. Now, the event actually takes place on the 8th. I don't think we even talked about when the event's taking place.
Yeah, Friday, the 8th of September at Crescent Hall, Luton, from 7 till 11. Doors open 6:15.
And so a guest can come in. So there we go.
Guests can enter
Friday, 8th of September. Yeah. Make a note of that date, ladies. Friday, 8th of September. And the deadline for the tickets is the 6 p.m. on the 3rd of September. Yeah. So you need to... And this is only so that they can allocate enough gift bags and make sure you get your 3-course meal. So it's important that happens. We've talked about how people can purchase tickets. Is there any other way, if anyone wanted to say purchase a ticket on behalf of somebody?
Yeah. So last year, alhamdulillah, we had a couple of brothers who purchased 2 tables and asked us to give it to any vulnerable young lady that we knew of that may want to attend. So if anybody wants to purchase a ticket, we've already made 10 places available and given them out. So if anybody would like to purchase a ticket for somebody that cannot afford it but would really benefit from the event, it may be the only event that they have for the whole year, then they can contact us directly via our website or via Instagram. Just send us a contact message and say that they would like to purchase a ticket for somebody or sponsor a ticket for someone, or even sponsor a table, and inshallah we'll gladly accept it.
Mashallah, that's lovely, and that's a lovely gesture as well. So there is that option out there for anyone that wishes to purchase, and it can be all anonymous as well.
Of
so
course,
if anyone just wants to do it anonymously, you can. So we are now ending over to the last 50 seconds of the show. Any take-home message on self-care?
Yeah, I would say prioritise yourself. Like the saying goes, you cannot pour from an empty cup.
Yes, absolutely. So it's very important, women, that you do look after yourselves and you do take that time out and make it regular and make it part of your life. So Kamillah, thank you so much for your time on the show today. It's been so nice talking to you. We've spoken via Zoom, so it's really nice having this conversation with you live in the studio, and I wish you all the best for the event. I have no doubt, inshallah, it will be an amazing evening, an emotional evening, and I wish you all the best. And I have a short quote for listeners to take home with them from today's show. Taking care of yourself doesn't mean me first, it means me too. Jummah Mubarak, and join me again on another topic. But for now, Jummah Mubarak, wishing you all a blessed Friday. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. Why not tune in to our live stream at inspirefm.org and follow and subscribe to our social media platforms at Inspire FM Luton.